Alright, well, this is the material of material culture, and it's supposed to be about items of interest and intrigue.
It's supposed to be? What's it really about?
Oh, no, it's quiet peanut gallery.
Go ahead, go ahead. Oh, keep it down.
Alright, so we went inside we should probably define what material culture is first, and to be boring and read it, I will, but material culture is commonly comprised of physical elements, material goods or items used by particular people, as well as the attachment and the importance placed upon them. The study of material culture brings into play the aspects of a particular society or culture based upon fabricated items reflecting the belief patterns of the designer, purchaser, commissioner, etc. We try to understand the mindset or belief system of the item's owner, user, or manufacturer, and what that might say about society as a whole. So, we study material culture and it's how it relates, how the item relates to society, how the item relates to that user, to that designer. Alright, so the stuff that we'll be looking at this evening is listed below. We start off with everything that we feel is pertinent in the store from 1776 to about 1880 or so. And then there'll be one that's a little later, that will go on, obviously. But we'll look at dressing spoons and brocade desks and spindle beds and everything so listed. And the last one will actually be from 1880 to 1930, and then one piece is actually a modern reproduction meant to kind of throw you all off. Alright, so how do we make sense of what we see? You look at an object, but that in and of itself doesn't really let you discern anything until you start putting it in its place and putting it in the context. Where's this item from? Who makes this thing? What's its usage? And essentially to do it, we just adapted a standard ID method so you can describe the item in question, place its origins, provenance, where is the item manufactured, who owned it, and so forth. And when. Do we have dates, maker marks, anything that hints to that sort of relevance? Why? What's its principal usage, other possible uses? And what does it tell us? What does the item reveal about the maker, the time period, the owner, the purchaser, and ultimately that society as a whole, where this thing actually fits in? Alright, so we'll start off with a 1776 sterling silver dressing spoon. You actually want to get it as soon as you miss it this morning? You can actually see it in person now. It is what it is. It's a dressing spoon. It's got British hallmarks on it. Dates to 1776. What does it do and why? Well, it certainly brings forth the production, the industry itself and the production. Yeah. That's just ridiculous.
Recent turkey.
Yeah.
See it? Oh.
No, I think they can see it.
When you touch it, is it okay? Or is it one of these you touch it, you want it?
No.
Oh yeah, we forgot to say this is an auction.
Where's the mark?
And it's also got on it actually it's got two family crests on there, so that you can kind of discern something else from that. What is it? Is it what do you where does this thing fit as far as the usage again of the people that own this? And you look at the hallmarks, and one of the great things about silver is hallmarks have been documented forever and a day. So it's really easy to start to read these things and figure out where this actually does fit in its time frame. Not just in its time frame as far as year marks and manufacture, but where it fits in as far as the evolution of the silver production industry, as well as the time period and its relevance to what else is going on in the world. Our second item is an 1884 vest. I'm sorry, an 1848 vest. Hello. What is it? It's a men's ivory silk brocade vest with a buckle adjustment, front, back, and identification markings. And I guess Vanna White will show us what that one is. We're all about that. That's going on challenge. Where is it? Well, the exact provenance isn't known. It doesn't really matter because it's a style that's indicative to the period and very typical as far as fashion. If you want to open that up, you can actually show them the inside where it's actually ID'd and marked. And it is a style consistent with the 1840s. It's really a shame that iron gall ink is actually starting to eat through the cotton fabric on that. But you can still make it out. Somebody wrote in, then this looks like ballpoint pen ink,
Yeah.
the 1848 wrote it out again, but I guess you could say at least it's been preserved. One of the best parts about that, at least in my opinion, I think there's two things that I really love. When you talk about material culture and where things fit in, you can really look at. There's one buttonhole on the front of that vest that's actually spread apart and considerably more open than the rest of them, and you just can't help but wonder, is that where the chain for the watch goes? What's doing that?
Right.
You know, why is that one more pulled than anything else? And the other part that I really love about it is actually the buckle on the back, the adjustment buckle. Besides the fact that it is a small little piece that is just so intricately done, it's actually removable, and I think most of us here know that we remove it for washing. So that's just a wonderful example.
Clearly designed by a woman.
It's definitely worth it. Whoever designed that.
That one too.
It's 100%.
That's on that
It's hand stitched. It's a wonderful example, and it's so typical when you put that in the context of men's fashions. What does it say about dress in general? What does it say about the accessories that might go along with dress, and so forth? Next up is the 1840s, 50s spindle bed.
Let's drag that
Over there. No, I think we better not drag that over here. Which is over there. Supposedly it comes out of Ohio. That's the story we got from the seller. Is that necessarily true? Does it really matter? I don't think it does. I mean, the style and construction indicative of something from the Midwest to the East Coast. They're very typical in that end of the country. Between the 1840s and 50s, probably the best date we can put on that, looking at the design elements and looking at the construction elements to it. The side rails are actually just round, you know, almost as though it's a log that's just been slightly turned. It's all hand done. You can actually still see the marks in the wood on that. And there's only two iron attachments at both ends. They actually lock in and you can roll it to lock the thing together. And it's so crude, yet somebody's taken such time to actually put this thing together. So what else is it? Well, why is it important? It's important because it's an example of early manufacture, especially in rural areas. This is something I guess anybody with a talent, you could say, can do. It doesn't take specialized machinery other than the knowledge of how to do it and the tools to do it. Because if we're not talking about something mass-produced, it gives an entirely different perspective, and who can make it and where it's coming from, and you know, this is the West. You know, this is people's own ingenuity and hacking their way through the trees. Up next is the 1850s ice water pitcher with that lovely grotesque on the front, which is actually, it's a Connecticut piece. The jug for the milk of human kindness right there. It's patented actually by W.W. Langman, June 8, 1858. The patent should actually be inside of it for easy reference. And there's the patent. The fun thing about this is the particular example that you got matches the patent almost exactly. The only thing missing on the patent drawing is the grotesque on the front of the jug. So what does it say? Well, it's made for serving ice water. And what does that tell you? Well, if you want to serve ice water, that's a fairly big deal at a table in the 1850s. I mean, we all look at that. You look at ice storage, and you're talking about something that's stored outside. You're talking about putting that in its own little ice house and how you keep these things. And being able to put ice water on a table is something that not everybody can afford to do. Not everybody has the means to do, not just monetarily, but space-wise to actually be able to do this. So ice becomes, I don't want to say really a precious commodity, but it's something that gives a status to it. So what does that say about the owner? Well, if they've got the time to have a dinner party with an ice pitcher, you're doing fairly well for yourself.